This is a CBS News special report. I'm Charlie Rose in New York. Norah O'Donnell is in Moore, Oklahoma, which is a disaster zone this morning. A giant tornado tore through the middle of that Oklahoma City suburb on Monday. 51 people are confirmed dead. 20 of those victims are children. Officials say the death toll is expected to rise by up to 40. About 24 other children are still missing. Forecasters say the tornado had 200 miles per hour winds. It destroyed or damaged dozens of homes and businesses. 2 elementary schools were also hit. Let's go to Norah O'Donnell in Moore. Norah, good morning.
And morning to you, Charlie. The devastation has been massive here. And we should note, too, that authorities just evacuated us from near Plaza Towers Elementary School because the smell of natural gas is so strong. In fact, one of the sergeants with the police department saying this morning, we have natural gas everywhere. Natural gas is just spewing. So they're very concerned about the security situation there. So they have moved us to the staging area here where the National Guard is going to be all day, and they're going to be updating the media about the latest search and recovery operations. I want to bring in Werner, who has been here all day. You were in Moore all day yesterday. You were at that elementary school where there were so many children injured and perhaps so many children have died. Tell us what it was like there.
Well, Norah, we were kind of a little bit further away from the elementary school, sort of in the area, more toward the residential area, because we were having trouble getting to any other areas. There was sort of gridlock in the area there. So what we saw was really utter devastation throughout and sort of a paralysis, and a lot of people kind of walking around with stunned looks on their faces, just trying to figure out what do they do.
Right. This is an elementary school with more than 400 students at it. The first and second graders were having their end-of-year celebration. That tornado touching down just before 3 o'clock, and I'm told that people had just like 15 minutes to get ready for those students to prepare for this tornado. Some did not make it out.
And as I understand it, there's 24 kids missing this morning still. There is some, we have some children who did make it out, and that is wonderful news. A lot of these kids, in fact, there's one child named Isabella that we can hear from now who talked about that. Let's listen.
The lights went off, we were doing some music, and then we laid down under the desk. And then whenever I saw all this rain coming on the window, the tornado went in, and I was so afraid that I was hanging on to one of the desks, and then I fell back, and then all the dirt started getting in my eyes and all my clothes. That I really got stuck because all the desks were on top of us, and the teacher got stuck, and so somebody had to help her because the desk was on her leg. And so we had to get out, and we had to watch out for the wires because they might be on still.
And it's amazing that they did get around all those obstacles. I mean, we were driving around power lines. As you mentioned, there's a problem with gas. There's gas everywhere. It's really dangerous out there.
You smelled the gas.
We smelled the gas the whole time we were there yesterday in the neighborhood, which is a neighborhood of sort of single-family brick homes. And everywhere we walked, you could smell the gas. And at times, it became very strong.
The Moore Police Department now says they have hundreds of officers going through a grid search, essentially, to look for any survivors. You mentioned that we have 24 children that authorities say are still missing at this hour. At that elementary school, they say, has now turned into a search and recovery operation. We also spoke with 2 of those who have been involved that are some of the first responders who have been involved on the scene. Let's listen.
It's very solemn, and everyone is just doing their best to continue the recovery efforts. You know, a lot of it doesn't sink in until after the fact, you know, because we're in there and trying to keep your game face on, so to speak. But, you know, once it's said and done, it kind of hits you like a ton of bricks.
I mean, a lot of people are just very sad. I mean, as you can imagine, having to pull anybody deceased out, whether it be children or adults, is just going to be overwhelming for a person. So, you know, at this point, when it went from a search and rescue to search and recovery, the mood over there has definitely changed.
And you hear the mood definitely changing at that elementary school. A parent's worst nightmare, Charlie. Add to that this morning, there are more tornado warnings. Tornado warnings not just here in Oklahoma, but also in Texas as well. So the situation is still ongoing here, and we're going to get updates throughout the morning. Charlie.
Norah Donald and more. Norah, thank you. Oklahoma, coverage of the tornado disaster continues on your local news, and we'll have much more ahead on an extended edition of CBS This Morning. This has been a CBS News special report. I'm Charlie Rose, CBS News, New York.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com.